Good Monday morning. Welcome to Monday with the Moors, the Partnership Podcast. I am Terrence Moore Sr.,
Yes, good morning. I'm Cheryl Moore.
and as you can tell, who is still the bright and early one, but she has gotten a little bit better now, and possibly that is heavily because of caffeine. So it is a great, another great morning, another great day. This is the day that the Lord has made. We shall rejoice and be glad in it. So I am so phenomenally happy about what is going on in the realm of the spirit, in the realm of, especially with, we are in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and
We
this
are.
this upcoming week we have Bronzeville Week. It is it's an art and cultural festivities celebrating 12 years. Bronzeville is an area where that was heavily populated. The demographic is heavily African American. Many businesses, many cultural, historical facts. One of the go-to places in Milwaukee historically, but because of systemic issues and a interstate running right through the neighborhood, it really brought up a lot of economic issues and disparities. Well, that is sometimes how the system, but because of our focus under the leadership of Alderwoman Nalele Coggs, it has brought so much life in that area, bring back the vibrancy of that area, along with great partnerships like the historic King Drive bid led by Ray Hill. This is some phenomenal work that is going on in this area. And there are going to be like three stages. There's going to be a kids zone. There's going to be an R&B and hip hop stage. And then there's going to be the gospel jazz blues stage. That's the one I'm running. And we are going to have our very own Movement Underground 9.9.0 shizzle with Pastor Tony Whitley and Lady T. We're going to have quite a few entertainers. We have D-Rock, BBS, Big Rock, Birdie from Mississippi. We're going to have Ends from Memphis. We're going to have Sam on the jazz side, Sam Belton, and then on the blues side, Darren Debo. So it is going to be an extraordinary event. I am so excited about what is happening in our area, what is happening in the life of Milwaukee. And I want to tell you, I've always been excited about Milwaukee. Milwaukee has been full of culture, full of entertainment, full of business, humongous talent, some extraordinary things, and extraordinary people, extraordinary businesses, nonprofit, for-profit that's in it. So see, I get hype about stuff like this because I love the city, even though I'm from the Chuck, South Kakalaki. It's just been a phenomenal. This is a great city, and a lot of events go on here. I still think that Milwaukee is great. It's hugely unrelated.
All this advertising.
You know what? I pay me, but but it's. I get excited about the things that really happens and goes on in Milwaukee, and I still think that is underrated. Even look here, even Dame Dash said, wow, Milwaukee is huge. We had Snoop said, hey, I love Milwaukee. We have a lot of talented people that come through the city that say, yo, y'all don't know what y'all got here, but we do. I love it. And look, this is what's up. I'm telling you, Milwaukee is truly growing. You know what?
No, we're not highlighting that comment.
Yes, we are.
Talk about Milwaukee.
Hey, it is. And here's the thing. I'm gonna keep. I'm gonna really get to it.
Okay.
Because here's the thing.
We have been on live 6 minutes.
Oh wow!
And
see,
6 minutes.
Because I'm bringing it.
But let me tell you, Alderman Coggs, send me a check.
I'm gonna tell Alderman Coggs on you.
When I come to Bronzeville, somebody give your sister some. No, I don't.
But check this out though. Milwaukee is growing and growing fast. I work for the city, and especially in the Department of City Development. We are seeing a lot of businesses coming to Milwaukee internationally, businesses that had headquarters in the suburbs coming to Milwaukee. We cannot afford to miss this growth. We cannot afford to miss the benefits of going on. Even though we had the RNC and people were like, oh, it didn't benefit. But that RNC opened the doors for other major events because how we treated and how we set things up. That was just a foundation. That was really just a catalyst of what attention and huge events that's going to be coming to Milwaukee. And we have to be here to benefit from this. We have to be in place to make sure the kingdom, minority businesses, entrepreneurs, we got to get in place. That was like a practice. That was practice. What did Allen Iverson say? That was practice. But this is what partnership is all about. Partnership is about understanding what your environment, understanding the benefits of your environment, understanding the people and connection that needs to be made in the environment so we can all benefit for the greater good. And sometimes in that process, we also get rid of the things that no longer serve us. So we have to feel.
Ooh, I love that.
We have to really get to that point. What do we tell people who are scared and feel like the inner city has been gentrified? That's a great question. The thing is, we as a community, especially the minority community, we have to make sure that either we keep our property, either we make sure that we invest in our neighborhoods, purchase commercial and residential real estate, have businesses in those areas, be able to benefit. And sometimes we have to be mindful of the environment. I know gentrification is a scary word, and it's also reality. But we have to be very
real.
But we as a people,
it's not a theory.
It's not a theory. But we as a people have to be in the place to keep control of our neighborhoods. That's why it's so important to really have a hold and have some sense of ownership, whether in real estate or it's just in presence, and being very, very active in all of our neighborhoods. And then also people have a perception of scary. Yes, people hear about, okay, there's crime. There's crime all over the place, but nationally and in the city of Milwaukee, crime has been on a decline for the past few years. So there's a lot of the misinformation. Old information is out there, but we have to be responsible of lifting our city up, telling the people how great our city is. And we can't be ignorant of what's going on and ignore and act as though it doesn't happen. But we have to take pride and ownership of our areas itself. I was talking to someone over the weekend.
Y'all, it's 9 minutes.
I'm answering the question.
He's still going.
Over the weekend and we were sharing about.
Okay, we're gonna talk about Milwaukee today.
Yeah, we keep expecting help from other people, other folks. And the reality of it is that we have to help ourselves. We have to invest in our own neighborhoods. We have to invest and patronize our own businesses. And we are $1 trillion culture. Think about that. We're basically a GDP, one of the probably highest GDP. We are $1 trillion culture. And imagine that those trillions of dollars being reinvested in our neighborhoods, where that we don't have to expect to go outside of our neighborhood or go outside the culture to expect help. We can help ourselves. And I think that's going to be very important in how we control our area. We have getting neighborhoods and businesses engaged in protection of our area to really make things important. That's partnership on a professional and entrepreneurship level.
Well,
go ahead.
Okay, 11 minutes in.
See, you see how people just hate. I ain't saying nothing before. But hey, I'm excited about the city. Go ahead.
You think so?
Go ahead.
You need to do the Milwaukee podcast.
I think I just did.
This is
half
Terrence
an episode
and
only.
Cheryl, and then you need to launch off on the Milwaukee podcast. And if you agree with me, when you look at the replay, do follow this up, because this is a word that has been given to Terrence, and Terrence is being disobedient using this platform.
Oh my gosh, here we go.
He needs his own space, because what he's saying is so important, and we all enjoy the empowerment is what I'm saying.
I'm gonna roll with you.
And I live with you with the energy of the city. When we came here, how did we end up here? Since we're on Milwaukee, I didn't want to come here.
No.
Well, let me just make that real clear. I said no.
No.
But unfortunately, I was married to someone. We came because we were on the leadership team of our former pastor, and God used his yes as a catalyst to get us to where he wanted us to be, which was the city was not on our radar. Our first heart passion was actually to go to North Carolina.
Yeah, we told God we wanted to move north.
We did. We knew we were not supposed to stay in South Carolina.
We weren't specific
enough.
But
that was a very powerful statement on what do you tell people who are scared. Fear is only as powerful and as fruitful as you finance it. We finance fear. Ooh. We don't really understand that, but we do. And I say things like that the way I say it so it can hit me hard. So if it hits you hard, good for you. I have no regrets coming to this city. I have matured. I've grown. My education, my career, my life, my sphere, my circle of champion. Everyone should have a champion circle. Has grown. I've learned from a lot of mistakes. I would not be who I am and stand tall and still growing if I were not in this city. People of color can thrive here. People who and it's not unusual that if it's your hometown, you can find yourself stuck and I got to get out of here, man. You can see everything bad, but until you focus your efforts on what's positive, what's good. There are some who are called to stay in that neighborhood, which is a diffusion of gentrification.
Right.
And those are those who are planted. So there are some who are planted in their hometowns. There are others who are like us, who are called, and we become the migrant, moving to endorse and to infuse change, to break down the walls of ignorance. I can truly say I feel like both of our careers, but I will say I more have been on the educational front, the empowerment front, the front of confronting the issues that Black women have with Black women. And I really just walked into that a few years ago. I mean, a handful of years. And I would really say right around 2017, I really understood that calling, not just that one area, but it is an issue in higher education. And we have some champions.
See, now you just opened the door.
No, because we're going to stay on Milwaukee. It's because it's important as we see things unravel, the education system, the financial reckoning, that these things happen.
And political too.
And the political, all of it, all of the different mountains and the spheres, so beautifully created by our Creator, our God, that the Lord has masterfully created movements, and He will continue to do it. Fear is only as great as the financier. So if you finance it, yes. And I felt that way when I first came here, right? We lived off of Capitol. I loved it. And my first home and we lived, then we moved to the east side. We loved it. Then we moved off of Downer, like 2 blocks from the lake, right? But when I we bought our first home, it was on Melvina, right? People would call that the hood. We had the best neighbors. We had the rowdy people. Now, don't get me wrong, because we had some young people that was cutting up at night.
We had some muscles,
right? You go. My children are in the backyard, gated, but I'm out there watching them play and those things. My parents came for a visit for our oldest at that time was Josh's birthday. I can't remember what birthday it was. And now like, they walked to Burger King or something for lunch. I was like, y'all walked out where? And and my parents looked me flat in my face when they came here and they said, when you're afraid to walk around your own people, you're losing yourself. That we don't have no reason to be afraid of one another. We are not the enemy.
Wow.
Set me straight. Because I listened to that. Fear is only as great as you finance it. Because the same thing that can happen on my side of the block can happen in any block. And when we ended up raising our kids, then moving into the suburbs, we moved out to Ozaukee County. I should have been more afraid to have them in the yard there.
Man.
I should have been afraid of what was happening.
We don't want to talk about that part.
So when I think about that, I feel like the fear is being dismantled as we see businesses rise, as we see Black and brown bold come forward, as we see the honoring of the native land on emails. I love it. Honoring, starting sessions with honoring the source of the soil. When I see that, when I see the source being honored, when I see that crafts are now integrated, and we're seeing the integration of a multidisciplinary or interdisciplinary systems come up, I have more than hope. So for that, I say it is growing. It will continue to grow. And years ago, when we were pastoring, our church was off of Elite, downtown. You can walk to 5 Star. Actually, people would park there and go to basketball games.
Think we in charge.
And let me tell you, a word of the Lord came. I can't remember how many years ago this was, but it was a lot. And I said, the Lord said, right now, do not leave Milwaukee.
Oh, I remember that
and
service.
To buy property that was in the outer circle of the downtown area, because he was sending millions and millions and billions of dollars into the city. I am so honored and proud to be one of the voices. I know it was more than one in the city that said and recognized and was able to say that, so people can't say they were ignorant and they didn't know any better. If you chose to leave, not be a part of this building, this rising, that's on your own, or maybe God told some people to move so others may come. But that's the power of how we should partner across. That's another area of collaboration, of getting it together. Now, I'm not going to go on this topic because I feel we need to have some guests when we get ready to do this, on what does the leadership look like in terms of when you're talking about our neighborhoods, when you're talking about advancing the cause and the cultures of the city, and building bridges across denominations, and denominations of people, diversity of how we think, how we worship, how we work, those things. I feel like with Terrence and I, God has given us such a major, major champion circle of people from all walks of life that worship differently, that have different cultural background, not just African American, not just Caucasian, not just those that ascribe as white, not those that just ascribe as a Latinx or Latino or Latina, Hispanic, Mexican, Hmong, all over. And it's very, very powerful. And if we didn't move in our professions and expand and push ourselves, we would not see where the power really lies. So I'm looking forward to that when we start those deep conversations, because partnership is just not about marriage. It's not just about coupling. It's how you're coupling. It's how you're establishing that, because that's where transfers of wealth occur, and the knowledge in the ideology. That's where the transfer of wealth occurs. Reparative acts are not going to be existent to the dying dollar. Don't put me in that subjugation. Do not establish me in the dying dollar. I need to be current in whatever the current currencies. I need diversity.
Currencies.
And that is again how you dismantle the fear. We have to speak about the diversity of currencies.
I know a couple of people who can talk to that.
Right. To that. And I'm not talking about just your Bitcoin. I'm talking about currency and wealth and knowledge transfer and historical transfer. When you start understanding that, it opens up an entire wealth world in your mind, and how you can be creative and continue to move the agenda to X out hate, which is one of the greatest scripted in our mindset and pillars of poverty that we could possibly have, is hate.
That is bad.
Bondages, misrepresentation, mistrust of people, mistrust of each other, right? Taking what we say and scripting it to unfamiliar ways for misunderstanding, that break relationships, that break what God has called you to be joined. And now your fetishes, your flesh, your proclivities get in the way of what God wanted as a wealth relationship. And that's something that I do believe should be a further conversation of wealth relationships, that a lot of us are in poverty because we disconnected from divine destined people in our lives.
And that takes a lot of that. And that really is part of the definition of collaboration and partnership. We are going to grow through collaboration and partnership. Unfortunately, not only in Milwaukee, but in many other areas where people tend to be siloed, whether it's in the church, whether it's in businesses, nonprofit, because they believe that when I'm siloed, I can get all of the resources. But I sit on many boards that have that fund organizations, nonprofits and for-profits. And the reality of it is we are not interested in anything that is siloed. We're interested in partnership and collaboration. If two organizations are coming together for the greater good to serve a community, that's what we're funding. Right. If two businesses are coming together, whether it's for a project, one project or multiple projects, and they still have their thing on, if you're only doing it by yourself, we're not interested. The money is not coming to just silo organizations or projects. It's coming to partnerships and collaborations. This is where the money is.
Right.
Sometimes we get so caught up that if I don't get all of the funding, it's not going to help. But the reality of it, people, and I've seen it, people will get money for their nonprofit organizations, but they don't have the infrastructure in place. They end up failing. They don't even meet the qualifications. Then they put their funding in jeopardy in the following year or afterwards. I see it so many times, especially in our nonprofits and some of our businesses. We don't want to talk about the elephant in the room of ignorance. And I'm talking about in business literacy. We don't want to admit that we just don't know. It's not the fact that, they're putting it in those folks' hand. They're funding them all the time. But the reality of it, we don't have the back office stuff to really make it happen. We're too frightful of collaborating and partnering with another organization that we see as a competitor when we should really see them as partner. It's like, I like what somebody said, we need to come together and get this bread together so we can serve the greater community. We need to make our money.
And I don't think that means that we have to give up our heritage.
And we don't.
What we have,
autonomy.
Or we have to give up our autonomy and our agenda to build the wealth into our culture, into our children, their children's children for generation. That does not mean give that up. What it means is maximizing, capitalizing resources and available knowledge and information systems to continue to move that forward.
Right.
Because you don't want to lose yourself. And, I don't want to get too literary here, but it is called acculturation, where I'm putting down, I see this in the workplace all the time, where you're putting down who you are, your history, who you are. And it's people pleasing on a different level in order to be accepted. And then it causes blockages, right? It clogs you up. And then you lose your identity, you lose the forthright of what you're doing. And so we need to change our mindset. And you can set healthy boundaries with that.
Oh, absolutely.
Like there have been people in my personal, professional space where, and no one is perfect. You see where this is working for you, where it becomes a blessing to you, but then the boundaries to set where it does not become a burden. And knowing the difference between a blessing and a burden and where those boundaries fall is really, really important. So I'm really excited, always get excited about the work that my partner here, my husband in crime, not in crime, but good trouble. He gets in good trouble. And moving and staying true to himself. And the more, let me just say this, Terrence, to share this, the more I see Terrence just move into who he is and the freedom to be who he is and say how he needs to say things that's comfortable coming from him, the more powerful I see that God is using him to mass because people want authenticity. People really, I feel like the world is moving to give me the real deal. We have been enough with this fake stuff and the messages of not just the modern, but those that will move us forward. I'm listening for the messages of those that will move us forward, not just for our own personal gain, but what is the global agenda? I'm on that global plane.
Yeah, that's where we need to be.
What is going? We can't go back. We can't. I mean, we about to wrap up here. I really enjoyed this talk. Although he was talking about Milwaukee, I think it is important to look at the fact of what the person said, that we are two African Americans, came from the South. Like, this is a country boy. I'm a country girl.
Yeah.
We met in college, followed a pastor, ended up here. Who can only do that but our divine Lord? And how great that is. But in order to make that mark and to move the needle, we can start in the city, but we have to see continents.
We can be in the city, but our mind has to be global.
Oh my God. Let's just talk about that next time.
Yeah, the mentality has to be global.
Right. Because global is coming to the city.
Because global is really local.
It is. Global is really local.
And we miss out because we can't think beyond our own block.
Yes.
Can't think beyond our own neighborhood.
Right.
And we short ourselves of great, phenomenal opportunities because we are too scared to really go beyond or think beyond our own mentality. And that is very challenging, but that's the blessing of it.
It is the blessing. And, maybe next week. I don't want to, I'll put it out there now so we can learn.
5 things
but I think this is good because we started our podcast. We didn't want to be so detailed until we became, kind of dumb. All right. One of the things that Milwaukee was known for, and I think this is important.
Other than beer brats,
people would call it very siloed. I literally stopped saying Milwaukee was siloed.
Speak something else.
And I began to see it for what it was. And then I had to think about my own upbringing. I grew up in a small, kind of country area that's now turned into a major metropolitan. But it was African Americans and it was very family oriented, very Black, people like, we call it the Stokes Hill. We would call, I don't want to call other people's names, but, there were just hills of family members.
Same in our area.
You could easily say that was siloed. But that is a cultural system and dynamic. And I had to allow the fact I have an undergrad in sociology about groups and cultures of people. And whether we want to call it all the XY live on this side of town, live on that side of town, is it so much that that's siloed, or that's a cultural representation and establishment? But the fear is moving over there to go grocery shop, to enjoy their land, and then going back to your own, where there's fellowship and collaboration, but we also have cultural, we have those cultural establishments.
Right.
I ended up looking at Milwaukee like that and seeing the beauty of how that was, how cultures are represented in territories there, but it's what you do with that.
That's very true.
It's what you do, because it becomes so mixed up until you lose yourself. You can become so mixed up until you're lost in the crowd versus having this cultural of Bronzeville, the artistic design, the creative,
together.
Right, the bringing together, that creative core coming together to say that this is a rebirth, that has been reimagined, revitalization,
re-energized.
Right. And how do we then take that word as we wrap this up? We're a minute over, for regeneration. And I'll leave that right there till next week. And we are going to do that next week.
Okay.
Now we need to get
I'm
I
writing
think
this
we're
stuff
finding
down.
our flow, people. I think we're finding our flow. But I think it comes out of, I'm seeing what the Lord is doing. Who are we, right, in the midst of that? Because we're very much so business oriented. We're business oriented. Professionals.
No kind of to it.
But looking at these elements from a partnering standpoint. So we look forward to your comments. Please do follow us on our YouTube.
Like, share, comment, continue to comment and subscribe.
Continue to share this or expand out. We love you so much and thank you for joining us 7:00 in the morning.
Oh, pleasure is ours.
Namaste to you. And to all of you.
Okay, I'm gonna give a shout out to Anomalous. They phenomenal catering company.
Ooh.
Oh my!
This is the one that you've been promising me for in-house catering. And I'll leave that right there. You understand? Oh, okay. Nice to meet you.
Oh gosh, I'm gonna be hearing this from her and Blake today. Oh
man, the one that I've had promised since the pandemic. Let me just say that and leave that right there. And we want to give a shout out. I want to give a shout out to some phenomenal things to Jason and Latasha Fields. I saw that they're celebrating their anniversary. So shout out to you and shout out Divine Woman just got engaged, Christina Mika. Thank you. I just saw that, brought me to tears yesterday online as I see people moving to love and partnership and coupling and just relationship.
Yeah.
Divine shout outs to you as we see it on I got to be more consistent on my timeline, obviously, to give these shout outs to people. Oh, and I saw Anna Bailey with a ribbon cutting.
My cousin.
Fred Divine, shout out to you.
Congratulations, cuz.
Your business
so proud.
Partnership. So happy for you.
And late in life, our older, I'm not going to call her older though, but cuz you up there with
me.
Season. That's
well
the daughter
of
one of my favorite aunts, Aunt Dora, who passed years ago. So it's just great to see that entrepreneurship in the blood. It's always been in the blood.
Yes. And just to even think of entrepreneurship entering, because we should put our topic down. We've had failed businesses. We've had failed adventures.
Keep in mind, I'm not the one that's extending this.
Y'all don't understand what it is being married to Terrence. Y'all ain't gonna understand because he's only married to me. He's my Terrence. I call him my Terrence. I think I would get a t-shirt made. My Terrence. #Cheryl.
Right.
And if the mistakes, the costly mistakes, almost cost us have cost us.
Yeah.
Moving from
because I'm the risk taker.
My dream home, so many things that have come into play.
I am so glad you're here. But then
so many mistakes that I thought were mistakes that were really beautiful memories that we can refer back to share out in love that actually move the needle in who we were as human beings and extending out humanity. I'll tell you what, I appreciate more and more all the time. So aww. I do.
Aww.
Yeah, you know that.
I love me some. I love my queen. Yeah, I do. I really do.
I love my priest, my guy. All right. You all be amazing and stay the course and understanding.
Collaborate, partner.
But it doesn't mean that you have to create a splinter in your identity in order to get. Good morning to you. Good morning to all you beautiful people that are continuing with this live when this is supposed to be a recorded podcast.
Hey, that recording part was hers. I say live.
Said that.
And God is like, I'm not trying to hear you. But anyway, we ended. Father, we just thank you for this phenomenal podcast, the partnership podcast. We thank you for those who've been invited to this and just spent their time to invest their time into growing and understanding and sharing. We just bless those who have received, those who will hear it on the replay. Thank those who have been a blessing to the community as a whole, that you continue to provide resources and guidance to them. We declare that this is a blessed day and a blessed week with blessed people. We are expelling all those things that do not serve us well, and we invite and we take in all the positive energy, all the blessings from you, oh God, the things that will build us and also tear down the things that no longer serve us, but also push us out of our comfort zone and expand us to the greater that is within us. So we bless you and we honor you. But secondly, we honor you, and secondly, we honor ourselves. And sometimes we honor ourselves. We honor you through honoring ourselves, because we are created in your image. We thank you in Jesus' name. Amen.
And I do have something to speak. I have a word to speak to someone that I'm going to be who I am.
Be you.
While you were praying, creative core came up. That someone is stuck. And this week, creativity in your creative core is going to move forward. There's something going on in the body that is mirroring you financially. And as you come into acceptance to deal with the body, creativity is going to push that forward. Everything you do has to come from the creative core. So whatever's going on in the core of your identity is going to open up. I guarantee you it will open up. It's going to open up. Yield to it, accept what it is, and let it pass through, because there is an onset of abundance coming to you.
Wow. What a blessing. That is a word from the Lord. All right, you all take care. See you next Monday, 7 a.m. Central Standard Time. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and be at peace. We out.